everyone, it's Anja here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks, and today we are looking at that blanket that my grandma made. Remember, I got a lot of comments about this blanket when I showed it to you in last year's video about all the blankets that my mum has that my grandma made, and this was a particular one that was completely sort of different from the ones she normally made. And of course I got a lot of comments about that and I had to remake it. So my mukke made this one in 2006 and I thought it was about time for me to remake it as well. So I used the border idea in the Ode to Anna blanket, but this time I am going to concentrate on the actual stitch. And I have called this blanket the modern vintage blanket because I am using a modern border, but the stitch is my grandma's and so really old, so I'm calling that the vintage stitch. So the modern vintage blanket. Let's get started. So let me show you what you need first. So I have used Starcraft Special DK. Now this is the one I always use. It is a DK thickness and it is prescribed for a 4mm hook. So I've used about 10 balls of this. So I have used a 3.5, my scissors, my darning needle and a stitch marker just to help me in the beginning. So I am going to explain the multiples in a moment after I have done the sample that I'm going to do for you, because obviously we are going to incorporate the border already. And that means we have to add to the multiple. So I'll explain that to you in a moment. So today I am not going to be using the DK. I am going to make a sample for you so I can show you really well what it, what the pattern is like, what to do. And I'm going to do that in a chunky. Now I am using the hook that goes with this, but of course it doesn't matter what I am doing here. I am going to be talking the numbers and whatever you need to do as if I am making my blanket in the DK. Okay, so if I say chain so many, then that is exactly what you need to do for the blanket. I will be chaining something else, but that doesn't matter because I am only using that as a sample to show you. So we are going to get started on making our starting chain. So we start with a slip knot. Put the end of your yarn in your hands like this, roll it around your fingers twice, bring the one at the back up towards the front, bring that one at the back now towards the front, and then bring that one up and take out your fingers and you should have a knot that you can slide. Insert your hook and we are going to be chaining 177 stitches. Now 177 will mean that your blanket is about 1.10 meters wide, and that's of course incorporating the border. Now chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on. So I'll see you when you have 177. Right, okay, so I have here 177 chains. Well, in fact, I have my number for my sample. Okay, so don't worry, I am explaining it so you can work it. So 177 chains. I have put a stitch marker in the 177th chain. Now I am going to do 2 chains, 1 and 2, and those 2 chains count as the first double crochet coming out of that 177th stitch. Now I am going to do a double crochet in each chain along my row. So you yarn over, you go into the V there. I always pick up 2 legs of that chain and then you do your double crochet. yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this way you are going to go all the way to the end. So in fact, you are doing 176 double crochets, and remember that chain here counts as our 177th. So I will see you at the end of the row. I have now come to the end of my row of 177 double crochets. I did one in the last one here, and now I'm going to chain 2. This chain 2 is our turning chain, but it also counts as our first double crochet of the next row. So in fact, we are now making the bottom border of our blanket, right? So we need to do 4 rows of double crochets. So I've done my first row. I am now, chaining, turning. Don't do one in this first stitch here, because of course the chain is coming out of that one and it counts as a double crochet. Do one in the next one and one in every one to the end again. So again, 177 double crochets. Now you're going to do this for, like I said, for 4 rows. So this is the first one, second, I need to do a third and a fourth, and I will see you at the end of those 4 rows. Okay, so I have done my first 4 rows of double crochets, which in fact is my bottom border. Okay, so the bottom border is already finished. So now we are going to start doing our repeats of our design, but of course we need to make sure that we make a border on this side and on this side. So we are going to make sure we do double crochets to start with and double crochets to finish with. So first of all, we are going to do 1, 2 chains, turn, and we need to do 9 double crochets. So I've got 1 chain here which counts as a double crochet, so I need to do another 8 for making sure that I am, yes, starting my repeat of my design, but also I have to do this for my border. There we go. So 2, 4, 6, 8 and 1 more. There we go. Right? So the chain counts as a stitch. Now we are going to do 9 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are in fact not skipping 9 stitches. We are skipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. In the 6th one, we are going to do a double crochet. Now you will only need to count them in this very first row, okay? All the other rows you will be able to see what you are doing. Now we do 9 double crochets. So I've done 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, yes. Now once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skipped. Double crochet from the 6th one again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me take this out because it makes a noise. 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So you keep going like this, doing your 9 double crochets, 9 chains and skipping 5, and you will notice, can you see that it's going, it's curving that is normal. Okay, so don't panic, because obviously we are going to take these chains together after 4 rows, and that will sort out the curve. Okay, so don't worry about the curving. Now when you get to the end of your row, you are again doing your 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chains. You're skipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going again with double crochets from the 6th one. But of course it's going to be the end of the row, so we need to do 9 double crochets here to make sure we have the other side of the blanket, the other border, of course. So let me just do them, and then I can show you. There we go. Okay, so here we are doing border. These are repeats, and then so on, because obviously you are doing a lot more. And then at the end of the row, we have our repeats going, but then again we end in a double crochet section, because of course that is the border. So now we are going to do another 2 rows of this configuration. Okay, so I'm going to come back on myself. So chain 2, turn, and you do your, why is this in the way? You do your 9 double crochets, your 9 chains, 9 double crochets, 9 chains, 9 double crochets, 9 chains, and so on until you get to the end and you do your 9 double crochets. Okay, so let me just show you what it should look like. Of course, skipping the stitches as we did here is no longer necessary, because we've skipped them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you are just going to go on to, so yarn over onto that first double crochet there, and you do your first double crochet on there. Okay, so periodically make sure you count that you are still doing 9 double crochets on every sort of, repeat, everywhere you need to be doing them. Okay, so this is now what it looks like. Look, see, now you've got 2 of these, 2 chains above each other, and you keep going like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You get so used to doing it, and then into the first double crochet. And once again, that bendy work will get worse. It does get better once you've got your blanket established a little bit. It won't be as bendy anymore, and it will be pulled together by all those 4th lines that we are doing in a moment. Okay, I will talk to you about the magic 4th lines. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and we go and we do our last 9 double crochets, which is of course the border on the other side. So this way we are working our border on each side, and we are doing our repeat in between the border sections. There we are. Okay, so yet again, look, it is really bendy. That's fine. Let's get on with doing the 3rd row. So 9 double crochets to start with. Of course, yes, I mean, my rows are of course much quicker than yours, because you are doing a lot more repeats with your 177 stitches. And I'm going to explain in a moment what the multiple is, because I just need the visual to be able to show you. Okay, that will make it a lot easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That will make it a lot easier for you to understand how the system works, and to then be able for you to make any width blanket, because people are always asking me for what are the multiples, but sometimes it's just not that easy. And certainly for this one, it's not just the repeat of the pattern that we're doing, but we are also doing the borders, and you have to incorporate those as an extra. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 as an extra in your repeat. Okay, so that's how it works. Now when you're doing this particular row, when you are creating the third chain, I start thinking to myself, next row you're putting them together, next row you're putting them together, and I keep repeating that because yep, I have done it. I have just continued on and not put them together. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'll tell you what the putting together, or what I'm calling the magic row is. Okay, so here we have it. We're almost there. We're yet again doing the border. There we are. And 9. So as you can see, we now have a blanket that looks a little bit funny and that is really bendy. We are going to sort that out in a moment. Okay, so let's get going. So this is the fourth row of your repeat. This is what I call the magic row. The magic row is not only going to make our chains come together, it's also going to straighten our blanket again. Okay, so we are starting, of course, with our 9 double crochets, as we are used to now. There we go. 8 and 9. Right. Now we are going to do 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you are going to go into this hole here. So you count down 1, 2, 3. If you're doing this here, obviously your previous one is already connected. So you go into the squares here. Okay. So you go into there, go round it, bring up a loop, and you do a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then yarn over and you continue again with your 9 double crochets. Now we have made those 3 chains that we had. We have brought those together in the middle and we have turned them into what I was calling sort of little butterflies. Okay, so from this we've gone to that, and we have also taken it in a little bit. So towards the end of this row you will notice that your blanket is no longer bendy, but it is straight again. Okay, so that's why I call it the magic row. 1, 2, 3, 4. In, around, pull up a loop and do your single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back, doing your double crochets. And you will continue like this, obviously, all along the length of your blanket, and you will notice that it gets straighter and straighter. But of course then you start making those chains again, so it will go out a little bit more again, and it will keep happening now, you know, sort of towards after sort of the middle and towards the end of the blanket it gets better with doing the bendy thing. But yes, it's part of the design, unfortunately, because of course you are doing too many chains here for your 5 stitches that you skip, but you need those chains because you're going to pinch them together. Okay, so that's my design for now, and we are ready here to do our last pinch. 1, 2, 3, 4 into there, bringing up your loop and doing a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are now doing those double crochets for the side for the border. And when I finish this, I'm going to show you and explain to you what the multiples are for this blanket. There we go, and one more in that turning chain, voila. Okay, so this is my layout for my blanket, right? And as you can see, let me just put this a tiny bit higher so it fits in the frame. We have here the side border and here a side border. In between we have the repeats of the stitches. Obviously I only have 1, 2.5 repeats. This is the way I've worked this out. So this is 1 repeat, 1, 2, 3. You will have 12 repeats, okay? So the multiple for the repeats is in fact 14. So these are 14 stitches in between my hands here. So 9 double crochets and then 5 stitches skipped, okay? So that's a multiple of 14. We are going to multiply that, of course, times so many, and in this case here I've done it times 12. That will give you this. Okay, so it will give you a border on one side and repeated, but it will not give you a border on the other side. So you have to add 9 double crochets, 9 stitches to give you the border on the other side. So we have 1, 2, 3 repeats and 1 border, 1 times the double crochets on the side. So in fact the multiple is 14 times your repeat. For example, here in this one I've done it 12 times, here I've done it 3 times. 14 times your multiple plus 9 for the extra border plus 2 for your turning chain. And we did the plus 2 after I did the 177 stitches. Remember where I had the stitch marker. Okay, so the multiple is for the purple, the proper purple blanket is 14 times 12 plus 9 plus 2. For this one here, the sample, it's 14 times 3 plus 9 plus 2. Okay, and that explains to you how you can work this out for any size blanket. Here I have done 1 repeat of my butterflies, and we of course need to do a lot more. So as you can see here, I have then just started repeating this section here, and you just keep repeating that until you have the width or the height of the blanket that you need. Now I am going to count each time of 4 rows, so each repeat of 4 rows as a section. So this is 1 section, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I am going to do 42 sections like that. So the section 1 and the section 42 are actually double crochets, and then section 2 to 41 are this repeat here that I've just shown you. Okay, so now what you do is you just start again with doing your repeat with your chains. So you do your double crochets, your chains, double crochets, and then when you've done your 3 rows of that, the 4th row is the magic row where you are pinching them together. And that's how you are going to keep continuing. Like I said, there will be 40 sections of 4 rows, and then just like you started, you are going to have to finish with 4 rows of double crochets. So come back to me for that. So I will see you now when you are ready to do your last rows of double crochets. I now have to start doing the border again, okay, because we're doing the border here, 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 and so we are going to finish in the border. But to be able to do that, we first have to do a row where we are going to straighten this out again. Okay, so first of all we do the straighten out row, and then we're back to doing the 4 rows of border. So chain 2 and turn, do your 9 double crochets, and of course earlier we were always chaining 9, but we actually, in that very first row, we actually skipped 5 stitches. So this time we are not going to be chaining 9, but we are going to be chaining 5 for those original 5 stitches that we have skipped. 2, 3, 4, 5 in the beginning. Okay, and then we go to that next double crochet. So this will sort of finish off the design to give us an edge at the top. See, look, see? So this will now give you the opportunity in the next row to start putting your double crochets on there again. Okay, so let me just continue doing this sort of what you could call the intermediate row almost, where you have to sort of do something to allow you to do the next part, basically, because otherwise we would have nowhere to put those 5 double crochets that we took away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, before. So there we go. See, look. And that brings it nicely straight again at the top. So you continue like that, and I will see you at the end of your row. And I am approaching the end, and of course here we're doing those last double crochets. There we go, 1 more, and then we are going to start the border. 1, 2 chains, you turn, and now of course we're back to doing those 4 rows of double crochets that we started with, because of course this is the last part of the blanket and also the last part of the border, because we have been working our border with every row that we have done on the sides, and also of course we started with part of the border, with one side of the border actually, and now we just are going to be doing 4 rows of double crochets to finish the border at the top. So when you get to the chains, you know that there's 5 stitches there. Okay, 5 chains. We skipped 5 double crochets in the bottom border, so you are going to have to make sure that you just put 5 double crochets here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Divide them nicely over the chain so they fill up the space, and then you go, there we go, on to doing the next part of the double crochets. At the end, of course, you should have 177 double crochets again, because that's what we started with, of course. So make sure you count, first of all, to start with, when you've done this row, okay, so you don't have to undo 4 rows. But this is the crucial row where you need to make sure that you are back to your 177 stitches, so you can do the same border at the top as we did at the bottom. So I have now done my 4 rows of double crochet after doing that row where we straightened our blanket. And I think by doing that, 4 rows, 9 stitches, 4 rows here, you've got the same border all around. So the width of the border is the same all around. And I thought it looked quite effective and quite modern, which is why I decided that that would be my border. It makes for a different type of blanket, just a plain border like that incorporated into the blanket, so you don't now have to start doing a separate border because the blanket is finished. We're done.
So all you need to do now is obviously sew in your ends, and because I did it in one color, and I think that's the most effective, all I will have to do is sew in the ends for, you know, where my ball ended. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it was clear that sort of by using this sort of example that you would be able to see what it would look like and what I'm trying to do here, right? So I'm trying to do a blanket all in one, border and design all in one. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Don't forget to like and share this video. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of my uploads. Also, make sure you're a member of our Facebook group. Here are some suggested videos for you. I hope you enjoy watching them. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!